Good afternoon. My name is Anthony Conley, and this is my presentation. It is called Race and Ethnicity, a Concept. The concept of teaching in a mixed-race, multi-ethnic classroom. Today's classrooms are more diverse than they have been at any point in time in the United States of America. The students who make up your average classroom are no longer all white or some white and some black. They are now black, white, Hispanic, Asian, etc. With classrooms being as diverse as they are, teachers need to know how to adapt. Specifically, teachers need to know how to teach in such a way that all students feel comfortable and all students can learn at the same rate. Teachers need to be able to connect and relate to their students so that their collective and individual voices are heard. Students must know that their experiences are acknowledged and that they are just as important as everyone else's. Lesson plan. Okay, this is my lesson plan that I came up with. So the content is this. Research diversion paths and challenges faced by African American men and women from post-Reconstruction to the early 20th century. The audience will be a mixed-race, multi-ethnic classroom. Objective. Students will study the many challenges faced by African Americans from post-Reconstruction to the early 20th century. Lesson 1. Lesson. I will lecture students about the many ways African Americans had to endure hardships from post-Reconstruction to the early 20th century. The activities. Students will read first-hand accounts from letters and journals left behind by African Americans during this time period. Lesson plan continued. I will assess students by asking them questions from the material they read, and they will answer my questions from the viewpoint of the African Americans during the time period. Connection to theories and concepts. This lesson plan is designed for students to not only learn the material, but it's also designed for them to understand how African Americans lived and what they had to endure at that time. This kind of teaching is a textbook teaching for students in a mixed-race, multi-ethnic classroom. The students have to learn the perspective of others. Compare and contrast multicultural approaches, learning styles, and learning other perspectives. One staple of a multicultural approach is learning how students learn. For example, black students learn better when they work together and teach themselves, especially when it comes to math and science. Another staple of a multicultural approach is having students read material and in some cases reenact experience of another race. For example, having students read and observe the way the way of life of Native Americans, especially during the Trail of Tears, is a good way for them to see what Native Americans went through. Learning how students learn and learning others' perspectives are the same in the sense that everyone has to learn something new in a new way of doing something. The differences between the two is that one is a little more hands-on than the other. In the end, we all want what's best for students. Plan of action for students' learning issue. Jason is an African American student in a school that's predominantly white. He is not a disciplinarian problem and he does pretty well in the school, except when it comes to math. A great solution for Jason would be for him to work in groups with other students. Another solution would be for Jason to attend after-school tutoring in order for him to get extra help. It is well known that black students learn best when they work together in groups, especially with subjects like math. This is a graph for mixed race and multi-ethnic students, the best way to teach them, and it's really simple. Make sure every voice is heard. Don't avoid racial topics. I know that some teachers they like to avoid racial topics because it's uncomfortable for them. That's not the best way to do things. You got to hit it head on, be bold, and you have to talk about these. The last two are you have to learn how your students learn, and you have to connect with your students. Lastly, race and ethnicity and multicultural education for one. We all want the same thing, to be heard, to be allowed to sing as if we were a bird. But somewhere along the way, a few gained privileges unlike the rest who was looked down upon even if they gave their best. This inequality has lasted for far too long. The downtrodden always feels as if they are wrong. Why must it be like this? Why are the less privileged singing this awful song? No one knows. Maybe it's been this way all along. And that's been my presentation. I hope you enjoyed it. And I'm going to show you now my annotated bibliography. So I'm going to, yes, show my bibliography. It's pretty long. All right, almost there. I think that's it. All right.